Hi everyone, today I am going to teach you about the 3D geometry, which is a topic of class 11th, but it is a very interesting and very easy chapter of the class 11. So this is very interesting going to happen because through the 3D geometry you could find the location of anywhere on the object, even though it is above the ground, below the ground. So just how will you use, I am going to teach you in this video. So what is the meaning of 3D geometry? 3D geometry can you understand when whatever in the room you are sitting, just watch the corner, then you able to get that here we have the surface of the room and another is the another wall and this is the another wall. So there are two wall in the corner and one in the surface. So this is why you could understand the 3D geometry. Let's suppose we have to find a point on the surface, then we will write here and be able to find the coordinate of this point like this. But let's suppose if the point this is above the ground, little above the ground, then we have to use the y-axis also. This is why we need the three-dimensional geometry, because any point on the ground can you identify by the x-axis and y-axis, but if it is above the ground then you have to use the z-axis. This is why we need the 3D geometry to for the exact location and the precise location. So I am going to talk about the octant. What is the octant in the 3D geometry and how will you understand the 3D geometry? So let's suppose as you know that 2D geometry well, it is the x-axis, and this one is the y-axis. And what is the 3D? As you know that this is the 2D geometry. If you point, let's suppose understand that it is a marker, this is coming out from the board. So this is the z-axis. Are you understanding? This is the z-axis. Let's suppose a point here. If I have to denote a point any, then we will provide the location of this point through the x-axis and y-axis. Let's suppose this point is little above the board. Here we have the point. Then how will we identify? Through the x-axis and y-axis we only reach to the here. But through the z-axis you will use this and you will get over this. So through the z-axis you will able to identify the precise location. So z-axis, that means understanding that this marker is the z-axis which is coming out from the board. So this shows that it is the z-axis. So as you know that in the first quadrant in the 2D geometry, all both x and y are the plus, and in this the x is the minus and y is the plus, and in the third quadrant both are the minus, and in the fourth quadrant the x is the plus and y is the minus. So as you know that, and when you uses this one as the z-axis, then you are able to think that this marker is coming out from the board, and if it is coming out from the board, and that means some part of the marker is inside the board, that means it is dividing this 2D geometry into the 8 segments, or which is called the 8 octant. So the first octant, in which the y-axis is the positive this side and the y-axis this out inside the board is the negative. So in the first octant, all the coordinates of the point is the positive, because in the first axis y is this side, and in the second octant y is also positive here, so you have to write here the positive, and in this octant y is also positive, in this octant y is also positive. So in the first octant, second octant, third octant, fourth octant, but below this point, below this octant, we have the fifth octant. Below this octant, in which the y will be negative, because y is inside the board, because it is coming outside the board. So here you will get the below this line you will get the fifth octant, in which the x and the y will be plus, but the z will be the minus. And here we will below this you will get the sixth octant, in which in the sixth octant the x will be minus, y will be plus, but z will be minus. In the seventh octant, here you will get the seventh octant below this point, or beside behind this point, behind this octant you will get the another x plus x minus x and 3. and the another is here you will get here the plus, here you will get the plus, minus and the minus. So it is the 8th octant here. So if let's suppose, so we get the three plane actually, we get the three plane by the 3D dimensional geometry. One is the xy plane, yz plane, one xy plane, yz plane and zy plane, zx plane. So we get the three plane. One is the, and in the 2D geometry you have only the two plane, or only two plane, only one plane which is the xy plane. But in the 3D dimensional geometry you get the three plane. Just you could imagine through your corner of the room, just you will get this side one wall, this side one wall and this side, and this is the surface that makes the three plane. One is it will be a separate plane, this will be a separate plane, and surface become the separate plane. This is why we get the three plane in the three dimensional geometry. So let's suppose a point in the plane lying in the plane xy. So if a point lying in the plane xy, that means z is equal to 0. Z, the coordinate of the z axis will be a 0. So I want to teach you, if a point lying in the z axis, zy plane, then y coordinate of this point will be a 0. And if a point lying on the yz plane, then x coordinate of that point will be a 0. So I am going to make you understand how any coordinate becomes a 0. Let's suppose a point lying on the x-axis in the three-dimensional geometry, lying on the x-axis. That means something reach on the x-axis. That means something run on the x-axis. Then y is equal to also 0 and z is equal to also 0. So a point on the x-axis, that means y is equal to 0 and z is equal to 0. Point lying on the z-axis, that means z is something and y and x is the 0 and y is the 0. And keep in the mind that you have to write those coordinates in the ordered pair. Ordered pair means first you have to write the x-axis, y-axis, then z-axis. You will go through this. And let's suppose some example how the coordinates of a point lie in which octant. Let's suppose a point 5, 3, -2 lie in which octant. If I will ask you, so as you able to get that, if both are the positive, that means according to the quadrant it is the first, and here you will get the first octant, either the first octant or the fifth octant. But as you get here the z is the minus, that means it is a fifth octant, because in the first octant the z is the plus, so it lies in the fifth octant. And let's suppose the another example where 5, -3. So in this you will able to get where this point lies. This one, first of all see this one only. So as you able to get that this one lies in the fourth quadrant, and if here we have the minus, as this one is the z-axis is in the minus, that means behind this a point lying, behind this is the 8th quadrant, so it is lying in the 8th quadrant. So I think you understand how you have to use the coordinate geometry to get the more precise location. And next to this video I am going to make about the distance formula and section formula of the 3D geometry. And thank you for today.